jump scare. Usually there's an intro there. But the 2025 goals, I mean, we're office hours at the Amber of last year is no longer. We're in a new era, which it feels strange, I think. I don't even know if we're live. Oh my gosh. I'm out of practice. Hello. Welcome to Office Hours at the Amber. I'm Amber. This is Office Hours. It's still Office Hours. It's just season 2. How exciting. Let's see if we're on. And if we are, fantastic. I don't know. It feels like, I feel like I'm used to just the way it was. It's like naked to not have the intro. Here, let's see. This is Office Hours. Okay, perfect. She's live. She's live. She's live. Okay, cool. I have never been more excited to tell you about what I've been up to. We've got some updates today. The primary focus of this whole hour is to just do a parade for myself because when you have a problem, oh my gosh, Eric, hi, nice to see you. When you've been fighting a problem for like months and you finally have the right answer to it. Oh, it's so good. Essentially, with a small business, there is such thing as overbuilding processes. So when Matt and I started working together at Good Trade Depot, I overbuilt a lot of things. So in the meantime, once we had more people starting, I pared it back. We're now getting into a place where we're outgrowing the first systems that I created, which is such a blessing. I mean, how cool is that? But that's the whole point of having me there. So as we grow, the processes and systems grow with it. And I just upgraded our inventory data infrastructure or like structural data for our inventory process so wildly in the last 4 days. And I'm so excited to tell you all about it. And truly, I'm going to show you how this little piece of paper is saving Good Trade Depot literally going to thousands of hours of inventory time over the course of our future. So we're going to talk about how this is going to save us hundreds of hours, but we're going to get there. Before we get started, if you're a frequent flyer to Office Hours of the Amber International, 2025, the goal of the year was to up-level my skills and kind of catch up to the crowd in Microsoft Excel. This year, I have 2 streams of consciousness that I'm following. I want to continue exploring and pursuing mastery in Microsoft Excel as well as the Microsoft Office suite. And how I'm going to do that in 2025 is I'm going to have the Click Around and Find Out series. That is more of like a treasure hunt explorative adventure where I literally am going to click through every button, setting, sub option, everything in the Excel ribbons. And once I get through Excel, which I think is going to take me quite a bit of time, once I get through Excel, I'm going to move to Outlook because I think Outlook has some secret sauce that we're missing. And then probably PowerPoint, but like at that point, I mean, it's going to take me a while. That series to some might feel like paint drying. So I hope to then afterwards take the top 3 things I learned in that hour, kind of blog it out, and then post that on my website or like a newsletter situation so that people, if they're interested in the things I found, can go watch the video. Because honestly, I'm not much of a podcast live stream watcher. So sometimes it would be nice to be like, hey, I found this cool nugget at minute 43. I want to cherry pick some good stuff out for you. But I like using live streams to force myself to sit down and do something, interact with you folks, and keep going. So that's the first stream of consciousness that I'm going to be live streaming. The second one is I still have overarching self-development goals for the year that I do want to use live streaming as a way to push forward on as well, because Office Hours with Amber last year far and away was the most consistent training program I've ever given myself. So the second stream of consciousness is going to be called Engineer the Engineer, which is where I'm basically going to show you how, as a process engineer, I'm creating and improving processes in my own business, Peachy Profitability, and my side business, or my business partner's business, Good Trade Depot. So a lot of cool stuff is going to come from that. Today is kind of the beginning of Engineer the Engineer. I would preferably put it on a different day. I think Excel is for like Mondays for Excels and Sundays for Engineer the Engineer. Hey, Emily, nice to see ya. So over time, that's going to kind of come to fruition. But what I realized is December was supposed to be December I used as kind of a reflective period to look back at the year and make sure that I was setting the right goals for 2026. But the thing about that is, I'm going to Australia for 3 weeks, starting on the 15th. So, doing a live stream from abroad might be a little tough to like. I don't want to kind of neglectfully start 2 live streams poorly. I'd rather start them both very confidently in February. So we will have more branded, clean, polished, cute things coming in February. But for this month, basically, I'm just trying to catch up on some like projects before I leave. And then I'll still be doing the weekly live stream on Mondays just from Australia and my phone, probably just saying like, hey, here's what I'm doing. In those, I'll probably do some kind of soul searchy stuff. But anyways, big news, guys. For Christmas, I think we talked about it last time. My mom and my dad got me a Stream Deck. I think that's what it's called. And I have some buttons to show you. Are you excited? Okay, here we go. That's all I've installed so far. I think they're pretty good. Thanks for coming. If you are here to watch stuff about very serious engineering, this is how you get to know me as a professional. You gotta laugh, otherwise you'll cry. Matt, speak now or forever hold your peace. I'm going to be showing that PowerPoint I showed at work today because I think it's funny and cute and illustrates the problem that we're solving. I'm not going to be showing Good Trade Depot's Airtable, but I might potentially build a similar environment in a demo Airtable. So if you don't want me to show that PowerPoint, speak now, but there's nothing individual about us there. Okay, I need to set the scene. Okay, so now we're kind of starting the journey, talking about what I've been up to over the last week. And Banjo is somewhere. There you go. Oh my gosh, special guest. He's getting a haircut tomorrow. I know. We're not making out on camera. Gross. You stinky. Stinky boy. Okay, so let's set the scene, okay? It's January 1st, 2026. It still doesn't feel, it's weird to say 2026, but 2026. So on New Year's Day, I was very excited. I was like, basically last week, our girl, Bridget, our warehouse specialist, she normally does inventory and gets our month-end reports done, and then we send that to the clients. Over the last year, I've known that our inventory data structure was like it's like whatever, it's fine. Matt and I originally started in Excel, and a lot of today you're going to hear me talk about Excel and Airtable. And I think they're both important in their own ways for me as a small business owner. I will always be an Excel stan till the day I die. However, I've been growing a love and appreciation for Airtable in the ways of being structured databases that have a lot more user-friendly automation tools and interfaces. And for the things that, Banjo, relax, you're shaking the camera. Relax. Okay. For a small business, if I was the only one using like the Excel, I could make it interact like a database with consistent data type structure, and like I know what's necessary for database structures and the consistency that they provide. However, if you have a team of 7 people who don't use Excel often, and then you're constantly having a number column that has random text in it, or this or that, whatever. So I didn't want to manage all that. So we started using Airtable to kind of capture a lot of user inputted data. When we transitioned to Airtable, I still had every single line in this our original warehouse management system Excel sheet had every single line was an item. So the item could be a pallet of stuff, a bag of coffee beans, a bicycle jersey, a box of bicycle jerseys. It could be cans. It could be empty cans. The variability of Good Trade Depot is so high that I knew normal WMSs that weren't going to be able to handle that level of complexity. I didn't want to spend hundreds and thousands of dollars for like a software that I knew wasn't going to fit the production side of the business, the warehousing, and the fulfillment side of the business. So I was like, I'll build it myself. And I'm glad I did because I'm learning so much and it's great. So anyways, I'm setting the scene. We'll get to how this little piece of paper is going to save us hundreds of hours soon. Do not worry. The story, we're here for the story. So essentially, we've been in Airtable, and the nice thing about databases is oftentimes you have a primary key. It's kind of the unique identifier that kind of describes that line item. So I was watching, shout out to Gap Consulting with Gareth. He does a really good job of teaching Airtable and kind of database structures. Banjo, I'm going to need you to stop wiggling the camera, please. Thank you. He's sitting on the table that the camera is attached to, and I'm going to freak out. Okay. Anyways, so since using Airtable, now that I'm learning more things, basically he described for every individual thing deserves its own table. And we'll talk about what thing is described as soon. But in the original way that we were doing inventory, it was hyper reliant on people inputting data all the same way. It's reliant on a lot of like user entered text, and we're not messing with that anymore. And so I'm going to now show you a cutie little PowerPoint to kind of illustrate what I'm talking about. If I can find my button. Okay, so I presented this to my team earlier today, and I thought it was kind of funny. Now, if you are a prospective client interested in maybe my services, don't worry, I put this level of fun into my presentation because I know learning new systems is kind of boring. So I wanted to make it light, fun, energetic for the parts I could. If I was working with your business, I will fit with whatever level of professionalism you're looking for. But this is my business. So anyways, new year, new inventory. So basically, let me make this a little bigger. Because we are a beverage manufacturer, we've got a lot of different things that we could possibly be warehousing. So finished product, like if we had 12-pack cans of let's say Coca-Cola. We don't do that, but let's say Kaviva. So we've got Kaviva, we've got 12-pack cans, 12-pack case tray of strawberry cans. Counting that is very easy because you have an even amount of cases per layer. Those cases have the same amount of cans in them. Multiply it out, easy. But then you have circumstances where you have a pallet with mixed items. Let's say, for instance, you've got packing materials and bicycle jerseys and this client's other stuff. We've got some ingredients. So when you do mixed pallets, it's best practice to not mix pallets. But in circumstances, I mean, if we were to not mix pallets in the whole warehouse, we would run out of space, and nobody wants to pay $30 a month for a pallet that has one bag of rice on it. Let's get real. So because of the variability, and especially if they have like 16 different ingredients with different code dates and different lot codes for traceability and like kind of certification, you need to be able to track that stuff, especially for like recalls and stuff. So counting homogeneous pallets, easy peas, I'm in love. Counting mixed pallets that have boxes of things, disgusting. I said what I said. So the other thing is, not only is counting kind of difficult, but secondarily, also, yes, my warehouse, let me do this. Let's do this. My warehouse is an Excel spreadsheet. So anywhere you go in the warehouse is a like a letter and a row, like a column and row reference, similar to Excel. So you can kind of look at it and feel where you're at in the building, which is great until the way that we were kind of doing our inventory is each pallet to be able to know where you were at in the warehouse, or like like if you were looking at the like inventory grid, you would have to first well, Eric, it is genius until you have a slanted wall, and then you get some real weird stuff going on. But um when how we described it originally was like, well, the unique identifier would be the location that the pallet's in, because there can only be one pallet in that location. So like easy peas. Well, the problem is, okay, if someone's going to grab a pallet from somewhere and move it across the warehouse, then pallet, J7 now moved across the warehouse, and when you go to look back at the data, the problem with that is now that row doesn't actually mean anything. And if you are dropping off that pallet in that new location and you don't know where it is, because the way on the like there's like little stickers on the floor that kind of show you where you're at, but you have to kind of use some, it's just a little everything's just like a little scratchy, it's just not seamless, and that's where you can start to feel friction when you're doing inventory. So I'm describing the lay of the land, so I then will place myself in January 1st and what happened. So in our data, each row, the only way you would know what you were interacting with is if it was in the perfect location, well described, and the item description was correct. So if you move things around, now your data is immediately wrong. Additionally, because of the complexity of all of the different items, when we pull inventory, we would have to go into Excel on your phone, which you know that Excel is not good on your phone. It's not impossible, but it's not great. So a lot of things working against us. Even in Airtable, like it just like everything was gross. I digress. So all of that being said, when your inventory isn't completely correct, it then, if your inventory process is difficult, it's going to be difficult, which is going to make you not want to do it. Going back to like kind of the value, accountability, novelty, capacity, it's like the capacity, your capacity, when you hear inventory, your capacity goes through the floor. You're like, oh my God, it's going to take all day. It's horrible. Hey, Jody. So when inventory gave everyone the heebie-jeebies, because we knew how much of a cluster it was in there, because there was no easy way to say this pallet is moving from here to here. Also, this pallet, I'm pulling one thing off, or I'm pulling a tray off, or a container, and we're going to talk about that. So essentially, I'm going to put this here. La, la, la. Beep, 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 beep. Better. Okay. So essentially, now let's position myself. It's January 1st, and my girl Bridge, she's on vacation. So I'm going to spy. Yeah, you know what? Actually, we're going to go back to that. You're right, Mom. That's the thing, is if filling orders gets harder, month-end inventory gets harder, clients get mad, billing is delayed, make no money, we go bankrupt and we die. Where's the lie? There's not. Mm-hmm. I can't believe I found the part soundboard in time. If you have suggestions for other soundboard items, you let me know. Okay, so January 1st, I'm sitting there, and this is a very Amber behavior. So oftentimes, if someone was to tell me, hey, could you do the dishes? I would somehow go buy a new sink, proverbially. Similarly, it's like, Amber, can you go do inventory? And as I'm going to do inventory, I'm allergic to inefficiency. So I'm just like, oh, we need to fix it. So thankfully, somehow the universe aligned, and I had enough time, capacity, value, accountability, and novelty. Everything came my way. And I don't often like super plug clients, because I think that's like, I don't know. I feel irresponsible doing that because then, I mean, I would hype up all of our clients to be honest, but I need to night shift energy. I truly, oh yes, take me off speaker for sure. Okay. I'm dropping a link in the chat. An applause button. Fun. Okay, I do need one of those. Okay. I don't plug clients often because then I feel like I need to give them all equal love. And now that we have some more clients coming, like I traditionally would not do this, but most all energy drinks are like energy drinks, you know, and I had started to observe like if you drink a Celsius, you're going to start to like, I could drink half a Celsius and be like tweaking versus a Bang energy, impossible, versus like a Red Bull. Like they all make you feel differently. And I just thought it was like placebo, or maybe I was thinking things. I need to tell you about this. I, as a very heavily caffeinated person, recovering caffeinated person, I don't drink it like I use it as a tool to like stay up. But this, I think it made me smarter, to be honest. So it's the night shift team, the owner is a doctor, and obviously night shift energy kind of play on cute, like working the night shift, you know. I don't know. I mean, I do know what they put in this because like I manage, we have their formula, but like I don't know what the hell part of their ingredients made me smarter. I can't describe it, but cute thing is this blueberry turns into this beautiful color, and truthfully, fucking delicious. Ooh. Night shift team, if you ever watch this, y'all are the real homies. I was nervous at first, but I drank like maybe a third of one of those on January 1st. And I was like, I'm going to get ripping on inventory. And then it's like every puzzle piece of my brain snapped together in that moment. And I was like, I know how I'm going to fix inventory. I worked with Claude a little bit. I'm a changed woman. I'm trying Claude out. Don't tell ChatGPT I'm cheating on her. But yeah, so I started working with Claude a little bit, and I'm like, no, is that all it takes? So anyways, okay. A mixture of Gap Consulting, watching his videos, which I need to, I'll link that as well so I can go back to it later. Gap Consulting, Gareth. And I had a meeting with their sales team, and I think his name was Zion Brock. He also was fantastic. Really the whole Gap. Okay. So I just put Gap Consulting, and he does a lot of really great Airtable videos. Night Shift Energy, I was drinking. Gap Consulting, I was watching. And then all of like a year's worth of problems, I was like, I know what I'm going to do. And really what caused this is in my head, I like to follow the trail of it would be really nice if blank. And the blank was, it would be nice to be able to say increment or decrement inventory by 1 or by the case it is in. Like I took a case off this pallet. I took a unit out of that box. So essentially, long story short, the reason I hadn't implemented palette IDs yet is because we've got palettes that are all sort of different sizes and shapes and colors and dimensions and fabrics, and like they just aren't easy to put things on. So what really all this comes down to, and this is the crazy part, is instead of having one big table that encompasses everything, I then created 3 tables. There are palettes, there are items that are on palettes, and there are details within the items on those palettes. Now there's like another layer of companies that relate to palettes, but we'll talk about that later. So basically what I recognize is beep, beep, beep. And of course that's like so ugly. Okay, anyways, by splitting it out into 3 tables and utilizing the features, and I don't think I would have been able to do this in Excel as easily because of the like, it doesn't quite, unless you would have to have like table, like marrying tables of like saying, when you see this instance, connect it to that thing always. And that's the other thing is like, we've got, I don't think I would have been able to accomplish this kind of linking structure in this way. Okay, so palettes, items, details. For every, and the palette ID essentially, you can have palette ID 123 that is in position C20 in the warehouse. Then when you look, then when you're at that item, when you're at that palette, 1, 2, 3. So essentially, palette 1, 2, 3 is on this, and all you have to do, and this is so silly, and then you set it on the palette. So then when I walk past the palette, I go palette 1, 2, 3. I go to my Airtable or my database, or we could do this in Excel too. It doesn't really matter. I go palette 1, 2, 3. What's inside of it? Inside of that, we then have, get ready for it. You're going to be so excited. Beep, beep, beep. You can have any amount of items on that palette. The cool thing I did with items is because it's such a hyper variable environment, I created a variable column for container and a variable column for unit of measure. Why I describe it like that is because if you go to, thank you guys, if you go to, how to describe, the last thing I'm going to say about the unique identifiers is that I still don't think I would have been able to, I would have thought about it or I would have used it in Excel because of the auto number feature that I like in Airtable and any database software that ever exists, ever. Not saying Airtable is the master of this, but if I create a record and then I delete it and I create a new record, like let's say I have record 1, I have record 2, I have record 3. I delete record 2. Or rather, I delete record 3. When I make a new record, it comes in as record 4. So I never have to worry about if someone deletes something on it, like delete something that had something in it. That unique identifier will always be unique, and you can always come back to exactly what that was. That is hyper important for things that have like code dates and lot codes and things that need to be exactly traced to exactly where it was and exactly where it went. So I'm so like, I cannot tell you, such a simple thing fixed so many problems because there was no way to identify in the past. And I wanted something easy enough that someone could communicate it quickly, because a lot of times databases have record IDs and they're like A7 underscore it's like this crazy long record ID that like no human would ever remember. But if I'm running around a warehouse and I see a color, like if I have a white, if someone has like, then I can quickly, like let's say I'm on the phone with someone in the warehouse and they're like, yeah, I don't know what this thing is. And I go, what color is it? And they say white. Then I know they're interacting with an item record. And then it's like, well, I'm not finding it in the system. Okay, we'll go to the items table and then look for it. That like the ability, this increases my ability to diagnose data issues quick. Like I there's no real big way to like describe how many headaches this is going to save me, but I'm going to try. And I got 30 more minutes to tell you about it. So, if anyone's interested in how I actually built this, I could potentially rebuild it in a demo environment. I could do that in a demo environment and kind of template it so people could, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. Okay. So back on subject. The thing about the containers versus the units is, for instance, when we have orders that are going out, if I was back at Anheuser-Busch land, everything is warehoused as 30-pack suitcase of Bud Light. There's no just open case trays of Bud Light that gets repacked into 12 packs, 24 packs, whatever. When it comes off of the brewery line, it goes directly into the box it's going to be sold in. And that is really great if you have a hyper reliable or accurate forecast for exactly the case size that you're going to go into. But at Good Trade Depot, we have a lot of very new beverage brands that don't quite know what pack size is going to sell well. So over time, we've seen that 12 packs, variety packs, are very successful, but sometimes it's 4 packs or 8 packs, depending on your price point. So we offer flexibility to be able to say, hey, keep them in 24 case trays. And as you have orders for 4 packs or 8 packs or 12 packs or blah, 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 we'll pack them into a specific box for you, so that you have the flexibility to not have overstock of 12s and understock of 8 and then have to reproduce because you have it in the wrong thing. So that's an important detail, because that means these cans, when they're on the pallet, sometimes you'll pull 4 out of a 24 pack case tray. So you have a partial case or a partial layer or you know what I mean? So we needed a way to say, I'm going to give you an example of, we have a brand called New Wave, and I could say no names, but regardless, free plugs for everybody today. New Wave is a water brand, and they sell in 10 packs. So they have branded packaging that is 10 packs. So because they are packaged into 10, if we have some pallets that are still in 24 pack case trays on the off chance they want to do a sample or something. So in the system for the packs that are already packed into 10 packs, we would have the unit of measure would be a 10 pack of cans. 1 10 pack of cans is the unit of measure. Then the container is the box. So we have box and contain, the box and pack, the pack is the unit of measure equals the container. Now, and so when you have that, you would only say, I have 50 packs of 10. You wouldn't count the individual cans because you don't sell the individual cans. Now, conversely, for the open pack case trays, the container is a tray, the unit of measure is a can. So then when you're calculating inventory, you say this many cases, this many cans, this many whatever. So that'll say you have this many cans available. Because that level of complexity exists, there's also a few other cool scenarios. So for instance, let's say, let's do bicycle jerseys. So Danny Shane, they sell bicycle jerseys. We currently have boxes, because if you think about shirts, they don't stack well and they slip and they slide. So the whole cases per layer, layers per pallet doesn't really work that way. So we use a binning system. So then my item layer, and let's go back to this. So in this circumstance, the pallet remains, and then the item is a box of apparel. But then we move into details. Beep. Let me just move these closer to each other. So then, let's move them all close to each other. They're all hanging now. Okay. So in this circumstance, then you have the other problem with apparel is that then you need color and size and maybe style number. So it has additional details that are required to be able to inventory it correctly. Whereas all of our inventory in that warehouse primarily is case layer units per case, pretty normal. But in the circumstance where you have mixed boxes or things that need to be weighed, like ingredients, you need detail tables. So now you can link the detail to the item, which the item is box of apparel. And then inside of that box, you have details. So detail number, this. So then if you have a kind of nondescript ingredient, you can then put a detail number. So for our third trick, and I'm going to get different colors over time, but then you have DTL dash 17. So then you have your next thing. And then the nice thing about this is if it's a big thing, like a big, let's say a giant pallet that you can't set this on top of, you can just bend it back and tape it to the side. Revolutionary, guys. And the nice thing is this doesn't change the entire lifespan of it being in the warehouse. So huge. So the cool thing about all of that is I came in on January 1st and I was looking at inventory. I had the revelation of a lifetime because I was drinking night shift energy. And all of that feng shui together. The nice thing is this unlocks a few things. So one, when we go to do inventory, like when my team goes to move something in the warehouse, I know they now can very easily identify what's in that position, and that's going to encourage them to keep inventory updated more properly. Two, when it comes to doing e-commerce and fulfillment, now that the structure of how things are calculated is more accurate, I can create a button in Airtable to say, I'm pulling a unit, I'm pulling a container. So then it will decrease by either a container's amount or a unit amount. And we can connect that to the data of, like, for instance, their Shopify ID that says this is the pack of whatever that we're having. And so in our product table, like our ecom product table, then it can say this Shopify ID connects to 8 units of that thing. So then I can say, I can preliminarily pull inventory based on the product number. Yes. The nice thing about all of this is this then enables a live environment where our clients can have access to our client portal, so that at any time during the month, we don't have to be embarrassed of like, oh, we haven't done a cycle count in a while, or like we're missing a few things here. Like, this creates an environment where data quality is easy, because beforehand data quality was an uphill fight because it was just so clunky and bad. So the nice thing is now this is a step, this little piece of paper is one step in a long line of steps that actually creates kind of like a data autonomous area. So now we can then, because the closer I can get to like having like a little wristwatch thing for inventory, well, actually then this is like one step in the direction of getting like barcode scanners and being like, this is pallet 1, pallet, whatever. Long line of steps. But anyways, so then I could say beep, plus case, minus case. This also then connects to our inbounds. So then clients will be able to say, I have these things coming in. So then we can they now with the data structure can say, I have a pallet of these 6 items coming in. So now they can submit things properly, because before they would just have to give us a description of what was coming in, but they couldn't give us line items of things. So I'm really excited. That's all I got to say. Yeah, I don't know how to. I think my brain was going somewhere else with that thought, but yeah, so I'm super excited. The nice thing about this is because of my understanding of Excel, it made it super easy to pull the data out of like our old inventory and then do some kind of like data cleaning steps to be able to create unique identifiers and like preliminarily make my IDs so that I could write them all out. I had something else on that. But yeah, I'm super excited because I think this is the first time I've actually taken pride in a data structure that actually makes sense. Let me know if y'all have any questions, because I think I'm speaking in tongues right now. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. I have I had something else, but it's left the station on me. But yeah, Airtable. I'm super stoked. And I'm using it for my own business as well. I'm not, basically, the process of me learning new things is like Good Trade Depot requires something, and then I go through and build something, and then I'm like, how could I apply that to my own business? And I feel like it should be the other way around, but nah. Let me see if I can pull open. Let's see. I will. Oh, wait. Here we go. But yes, so to kind of see what I'm talking about in plain English, and plain English is a wild way to say that. But basically, there's kind of scenarios. So like things like a Tapley, you have the palette 159. These are fake. The palette is that. Inside of that palette, we have 12 pack cans. So we would only need one item number and one pallet number because it's very simple. Now, Danny Shane, like I said, has many boxes with many things of many sizes on the inside. So then you have one pallet for Danny Shane, or you could have multiple pallets. Then inside of that pallet, you have box 1, box 2, box 3. Inside of box 1, you have small polo, medium polo, large polo, or you have, X amount of other things, and you can have all those details here as well. And then similar is, for instance, let's say we have a pallet, but we've got enough room to be able to split the pallet in half and have like one client and another client. Then you actually have two pallet IDs in the same location, which I think was a brain blast for me to say that pallet ID, to kind of go back here. The pallet ID represents the bundle of stuff on the pallet. It's just like the conceptual idea of that client's stuff in one area. Now, similarly, item represents each item on the pallet. But the vocabulary gets kind of a little weird, but like the item is box of apparel or cans of whatever. The detail then represents each item or something that requires more detail. And so that once I delineated it out that way, it made it easier because then, this also looks whack crazy too. But anyways, what you can see here, let's just focus on one thing at a time, is the way that it would go. And this is kind of what I was talking about is you've got this item table and you've got 682 cans, but that comes from 2 full layers of 10 cases, 10 containers. So 20 containers multiplied by the units per container. Let's just do some math. Let's see if I'm even right. Beep, beep, beep. Okay. So basically you multiply these 3 things together plus these 2 things together plus that. So 2 times 10 times 24 plus 8 times 24. Oh, 192. 192 plus 488. Mother of Christ. Plus 10. 6. Okay, well, I might be wrong. Wait a minute. New problem. Let's see. 192. 24 times 10 times 2. 480 plus 192. Plus 10. 682. Okay, I just can't do math. Similarly, so the nice thing about this is like then people aren't having to count every single can on this pallet. They could just put in some kind of basic things. Now, differently, there are situations where you can then total up the details. So in this same inventory file, so like one row would say, I have a box of apparel. In that row, it would say inside of there, the box of apparel, I have 50 of this item, 65 of this item, 26 of this item. And you can total it up, like the number of details. And inside of there, there's like multiple things. Not doing a good job of explaining that one, but none of our business. Totally fine. Anyways, so I feel like a mega overlord. Like I've never felt smarter in data structure before, which is nice and exciting. But yes, I'm excited to see how this maps to everything else in the business, because really the nice thing about creating database structures from this early in a company is that you're creating single sources of truth. So if another department in the future wants to instead of having their own siloed inventory somewhere else, all of it lives in the same thing, and then they can do analytics off of the same data. Similarly, by linking e-commerce, it really from the seed to sip here, or like really, I mean, production all the way to end consumer. The data that we have to track is we have ingredients that come in. So let's say there's sugar that comes in and goes on a pallet and is stored in the warehouse. That connects to a formula that then is used in a batch production. And that batch record is going to then be like connect to like our lot code basically. That ingredient has lot codes as well. So all of that's connected here. That then gets put in a tank, transformed into some sort of beverage, put through the canning machine, comes out, pasteurizes properly. That ends up on a pallet. In that pallet, then it goes into trays and layers and containers and all of that stuff. And from there, it gets warehoused or it gets put on a pallet, gets warehoused. So that's a new pallet ID. Now, each night twice a day, we're going to pull orders. And then that item then gets orders placed. And that then each of those transactions needs to connect to that pallet. Which one did we pull it from? So you know exactly the expiration date and all of the codes. That then gets pick packed and shipped and makes its way to you. So if there's ever an issue of, let's say you like something crazy happens, or like there's ever a quality issue, you could call us and I could tell you all the way back to the lot code of the sugar that came in, what farm it came from. That's on data infrastructure, baby. And like a good manufacturing process and SQF, you know, you need that, which is not rocket science, and all food businesses do this. But like for me to build a data infrastructure to do it without having like a ERP or a WMS, y'all can eat my ass. Mm-hmm. That's so fucked up. If there's any potential clients ever watching this, I'd probably celebrate this hard if I got a win for you as well. So. But anyways, okay. So the cool thing about all of this, there's a few cool things. There's so many cool things. There's so many cool things. So let me look at the calendar. Let's look into the future. So for the remaining, I'm excited to build the demo environment so then I can show you kind of more realistically what I'm talking about, without showing like Good Trade Depot's sensitive information, because that's lame and I don't want to do that to you. I leave for Australia next Thursday. And so next Monday, who could be sure what we're going to talk about? I'm confidently not going to be, I might start click around and find out, but realistically, I want it to have the same level of cute intro and branding and stuff. And because I've been on a tirade, basically what happened is January 1st was Thursday. I stayed up until like 4 a.m. doing stuff because I was so driven and excited about this. And then Friday, I was like, I still need to do inventory, so we got to get going. So then I wrote all these tags out and started putting them on pallets. And then the next day, still basically for the last 4 days, I've been trying to get everything up to snuff and get training in place to make sure everyone knows how to use the interfaces and how to interact with like the actual Airtable. So I still have a lot of work to do. There's still a lot of like little cleanup stuff I have left to do, but that's why I didn't build any of the like branded cute click around and find out stuff. So I'm going to take the month of January to kind of reset the sails, readjust the sails, align the chakras, make sure that I have a confirmed, consistent, good plan on what I want to tangibly achieve each week with the my brain's going to come to it. And engineer the engineer and click around and find out, because I think they're going to be fun. I just want to like, part of getting myself to do things is the novelty of it. So like when I feel like it's a cute branded like live stream, it makes me more excited to do it. So to be able to live inside, keep myself motivated to do it, I'm taking January to take a beat. Because when I actually, strange thing. So side note, if you came here for inventory stuff, probably for the next 10 minutes, I'm not talking about inventory stuff. So thank you for coming. But now we're just talking about Peachy Profitability, Amber in general, the vibes. So when I realized that I had done a lot of traveling this year, but not a lot of vacationing, I had to sit with that. I am a wonderful vacationer. I am a terrible traveler. I don't like too many scheduled activities. I like sitting and sunshine and not having a schedule and like just being able to be. So I think because I fall into optimization brain too often, I was looking at the 2.5 weeks that I'm going to be in Australia and New Zealand, and I was like, I need to, go to networking events, or I need to like spend as much time here, or I need to go to all these things. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Um, like knock it off. And I had a weird, nice moment with myself the other day. Again, chit chatting with my girl, Claudia. I'm going to call her Claudia. That's funny. I'm sure I'm not the first one to think of that, but regardless, me and my girl Claudia were talking, and I was kind of, this is a weird thing to kind of describe, but like, if your friend invites you to do something and you go and hang out with that friend, you feel like you kind of have to be in a good mood because you're hanging out and you don't see them often. And like, there's friends that you can just be in a shitty mood around and they're like, hell yeah, nice to see you, let it out. But I don't think every friend has to be that way, because there's some friends that I would like to just see, in a positive light, and like different friends for different times. I noticed in the last 2 weeks, I've wanted to shut in and just close off, but I've been closed off for 4 months. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go do things. But I feel myself being performatively happy or performatively kind of interested in conversation or whatever, performatively extroverted. And what I realized is I was kind of dreading the Australia trip, not dreading it, but like I was kind of dreading it because I already felt how much performative extroversion I was going to have to put on. And then I realized, me and my girl Claudia, no, you don't. You like literally don't have to do that. It's your vacation. You can just not. So I'm really excited actually to just use the full 2.5 weeks to like let my brain turn off but like what I know is going to be true is as soon as I turn my brain off of the day to day, it's going to ignite on all of the ideas that haven't had a chance to claw their way out of the operational. All the strategic thoughts are going to start clawing out, which I'm really excited about. And that's why I want to take January to like really realign the chakras and like prepare for the year of click around and find out and engineer the engineer. Because I'm going to have so many good ideas while I don't have so much pressure on me. Not that I have that much pressure. It's like life is not that serious. But I'm excited to read. Oh my gosh, wait, I have to show you guys. Okay, in this week of like the liminal space between Christmas and the holiday, I've let myself play video games again. You might be saying, Amber, you're a gamer? Oh, I know ball. And by that, I mean, I'm going to show you the games that I was playing this week and you're going to be like, wow, interesting. There might be some spoiler alerts, so if you plan on playing these video games, mute me. Okay, let me pull them up before. Oh my god. Oh no. PC game. Let me pull them up, and then you're gonna be like, oh wow. Squeak cross. This will be worth it. I promise. Okay, what else did I play? Oh. Okay, you're gonna laugh. Okay, I'm gonna put these in order, and it will be funny. Unless my computer locks up. That's strange. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. So let's start from the beginning. So what got me back into video games is my niece, River, shout out my girl. She got a a computer for Christmas and she's starting to play video games. And I was like, I want to play video games. What are you playing? And so she was like, so this is where we're starting. So this is what got me back into it. And I was like, I can take an hour a day and play some video game because my favorite pastime hobby is to go to Steam, put up like 5 to 10 like $5 games in my basket, and then eventually when I get to $100, buy them. And I'm like, cool. I do that every few months and I never play any of them. So now I'm going through one at a time and like going through and at least trying everything. So this is vulnerable for me because I come from like the Harvest Moon, Animal Crossing, Chibi Robo land of video gaming. I grew up in the GameCube era solidly. Like DS and GameCube were my shit. So you're gonna get the vibe. So okay, the first thing is she asked me to play, or she didn't even ask me. She she in no way asked me to play these. She said she was playing Ale and Tail Tavern, and I was like, okay, sounds fun. So I started playing this game, and basically there you run this little tavern, and inside of here you like serve stuff, and like basically to like rest my brain from working. I like working more. Like that's my kind of games. So I'm playing this game and then out of fucking nowhere, this like thing comes and attacks me. And I am a little sissy girl. And when that thing attacked me, I went, the jump scare nearly took me out. So I was like, you know what? This game, not for me. And I gave up. So then you might ask, where did you go next? Little Big Workshop. So in this, truly hilarious, you've got these little people and they work in this warehouse and or like this workshop, which is really funny after the whole video I just did. And you have to buy machines and upgrade and, you know, position them to like make it more like efficient. Like this is unfortunately my jam. And over time, I played this for probably 8 hours straight and got nothing else done. So after that, I was like, okay, this is too much of a time suck. We can't do this. So then we moved to Undusted. Now, we're going to take a quick side step to the left. This is very similar to unpacking, if you're unfamiliar. And unpacking, essentially, you have all these boxes and you have to unpack stuff into this room. Not a crazy concept. Now, the reason why people love this game is because, spoiler alert, is each chapter of this game, you're learning more of the plot line of this person's life. So they're a kid, they're adult, they get married, they get divorced, someone dies, whatever. That's the plot line of this. But it's disguised through unpacking a room, which is like easygoing. Undusted is very similar. So this girl goes to kind of like undust things from her like dead parents' house. And over the time, you have to learn all about her like mom is such a fucking asshole. And then you find out that the mom actually was like super nice. She just was like very like all of her dreams were crushed when she was little. So anyways, we completed that. We're past it. And now we're landing on my current hyper obsession, which is Squeak Ross. Home squeak home. The funny thing about this game is essentially you're a mouse, a little rat, and you have a house. And to get new things in your house, you have to complete puzzles. And they're little number logic puzzles. And that's the whole game. It's just a bunch of number logic puzzles. So you could say I'm doing pretty well. I'm enjoying. I'm excited. I think all of last year was kind of completely professionally focused, and I didn't take a lot of time to read. I think with my friend's wedding, the businesses, everything, I didn't take a lot of time to like relax. And what I found is when I take the foot off the gas just a little bit, I actually have fucking fantastic ideas on how to make everything better. So the nice thing is with, again, plugging them a million times because I don't know how. Maybe it's placebo. Night Shift made me smarter. That and maybe a break. And that is how I have unlocked the keys to the universe on how this is going to save us hundreds and hundreds of hours. I'm excited to do a recap, like once it's all fully built and everything, to like kind of come back in a month and like get like testimonials on it. But I digress. Now I have a lot of work to do still in getting that up and going. So I'm going to respectfully exit stage left on this, not office hours with Amber, but office hour, like the mid, like this is like a filler episode between seasons of office hours with Amber. This is more of the Peachy Profitability Productions. That's what this week is. But anyways, okay, I'm gonna go over to Discord if you'd like to join me there. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat. Let me see. Yes, if you'd like to join me in Discord, that's where Office Hours with Amber is hosted inside of Excelopolis. Trust me, you fit there. Don't you worry. But yeah, I'm gonna be in the chit chat chamber over there. So bye.